Ski touring in the age of COVID has become a really big topic, and the style of ski touring will probably change.
Despite COVID, I certainly plan to get out there and ski hard this year, but I am going to adapt a few things I do because of COVID to be extra safe. I'm just going to have a little think about it before I go.
I really want to be very careful about making sure that everybody that's in my group has cleared themselves, making sure they don't have symptoms. They haven't been exposed to other people that may have symptoms or have tested positive.
I'm not going to go do some big couloir that I've never skied before this year. I'm going to pick closer to home objectives with less risk, because knowing there's COVID in the hospitals and having seen it, I don't want to end up there with my broken leg or whatever injury I get. I also do search and rescue, and I don't want to increase the risk of exposure to search and rescue members for having to come and rescue me. I want to make sure we're picking objectives well within everybody in the group's comfort zone so that we can all come home safely at the end of the day.
When I head out there, as per every trip, of course, I'm going to have my day pack, ideally an airbag. I seem to be a fan of airbags. Have my shovel, I'm going to have my probe, I'm going to be wearing my transceiver before I even leave the house. I've checked all that. We're going to be getting into a COVID check as well. So that's going to include, does everybody have a mask? Does everybody have hand sanitizer?
I want to make sure that if something does happen on our day and I do have to provide first aid to another member of my party or someone we come across, that I actually have some extra stuff. So I'm actually going to have in my first aid kit a little bag with an extra mask, gloves, and hand sanitizer that I'm going to make sure is always available for me. I'm either going to drive myself to the trailhead or with people that I already share a home with that are in my bubble. Or if I'm going to carpool, I'm going to wear a mask. So hand sanitizer and mask is going to go with me. And I'm going to sanitize my hands, get in the car, travel to the ski area with my friend that I'm carpooling with, wearing a mask the entire time. And then take it off, sanitize my hands when I get out of the car and go about my ski day.
When we get to the trailheads, we want to consider a few things. First and foremost, the group we're with, we want to keep them aside from everybody else. A lot of our trailheads get pretty crowded. I think they're going to even be more crowded this year. So keep in mind that there's a lot of other users out there too, and we want to respect their distancing. Within our own group, if we're going to be closer than a couple of meters, we should be wearing masks.
I think backcountry skiing is one of the safer things we can do during COVID. We're outside, there's lots of ventilation. If we keep our distance from each other, which is really easy to do on the skin track or while skiing, we can go out, we can have a super fun day and stay totally safe from the point of view of COVID exposure. Obviously, I'm not going to share my lunch or my water bottle with other members of my ski group, but if I take my own equipment and don't share food, drinks, and keep my distance, I think I can have a really fun ski day without exposing myself to COVID in any way. There's the medical grade mask. And this is probably one of your better options because it is multi-layer and obviously certified to be worn in a hospital and protect against COVID. This is probably your best option, especially for high-risk things like carpooling. The downside is that they do fall apart after a while and they might not be as resistant to things like storms while skiing because they are a little bit lighter. The other good option is a purpose-made cloth mask. They are mostly multi-layer, so as you can see, this one has two different fabrics. Multi-layer is important because the multiple layers of fabric increase your protection from the droplets that spread COVID. So something like this is also a good option. They're washable, they're reusable, which is great for the environment, and they're not as good as the medical mask, but they're almost certainly adequate in low-risk circumstances. So this is your other option. You will see lots of people out there using the buff as an option. The problem is the buff is, as you can see, almost see-through. It's one layer of fabric, it's made to be breathable, and your droplets are probably going to go right through it. So I wouldn't consider this adequate protection. If I'm in a situation where I feel that I need a face covering, I'm going to use a purpose-made cloth mask or a medical grade mask for that.
We all know it gets hot, sweaty, you're working uphill, you might be putting your mask on because it's really crowded. Maybe you're putting it on and off all day long, you stuff it in your pack. Don't forget to wash those masks. Nobody wants to see somebody out there with yesterday's pizza stains on their mask.
It's good to get out there, the air's clean, we all need exercise, it's all a bit stressful for everybody, what we're all going through. but it's also not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a while. I think that's a given now, and we are in the new normal. We are doing what we need to do, and I think we all have to be very conscious.
The world's a bit stressful, and what we want to do is just go out and have some fun skiing.